Hello, this is Yang Hao Lin from Cambian Networks. Today I'm going to show you how to configure a cnReach link. So the default IP address is 192.168.0.3 login with username is admin, ADMIN, and password is also the same. So the first step, if you want to change the IP address, you can go to the network and interface setting, and you can set the IP address here. The cnReach allow you to set multiple IP addresses to a single VLAN or multiple VLAN, so you can change it here. After you change the IP address, you hit save. Let's say if you only need to change one parameter, you can just hit commit. But if you want to change multiple parameters, save is the best way. And then when you are all done, you hit the commit. Okay. So then you go to the radio. So you do the radio configuration. With the 900 MHz radio, there's two modes to choose. One mode is to operate in the unlicensed band, and another mode is to operate in the licensed band. So you choose the mode. Let's say we're going to do a licensed radio configuration. I'm going to choose the license and save. And then the next step is obviously you need to set the transmit and receive frequency. So you set the transmit and receive frequency here. And you set the transmit power. And then you choose the channel size. So let's say we're going to go with the 50 kilohertz. And then you choose the modulation mode and hit save. Then you go to the radio network setting. So in a cnReach network, there's two types of connectivity. One type is called point-to-point, another type is called point-to-multipoint. So let's say we're going to set up a point-to-multipoint. So you can choose point-to-multipoint, and then the radio can be a access point or an endpoint. The access point will usually will be talking to multiple endpoints. So let's say you choose this radio to be an access point. Obviously, all the other radios will be the endpoints. So you choose the radio to be access point, and then you choose the network address. So you set the network address. A network address is an identity of a cluster that's all connected to the same AP. So in this cluster, all the AP and the endpoint need to share this same network address. So by default, it's 555. You can set any number you want. Make sure that different AP cluster have to use a different unique network address. Okay, let's say 111, and the device ID for this guy we set it to 11. And then the network radius. The network radius should be the distance between the AP and the farthest endpoint. Okay, so for example, you have a network with some endpoint 5 kilometers from the AP, some endpoint 10 kilometers from the AP. Then you choose 11 kilometers, and then you have to set this all the same across the network. Okay. You may choose to turn on synchronization, or you can leave it alone. Let's say, when do you need to turn on synchronization? If you have multiple AP clusters in an area and you want to avoid self-interference, you want to turn on synchronization. I'm not going to get into detail for that here, just to make it simple. And this one, the AP repeat count it's for how many times the AP will try to repeat transmitting the packet before it gives up, because when the AP send out a packet, it's expecting an egg. Let's say if the endpoint never send an egg, so that means that the packet will be lost. Then the AP has to repeat. For broadcast, there's no egg. So if you set broadcast repeat count to be like 2, that means that it's going to send 3 times totally. So usually by default it's 0. But then for ADDR, that's for unicast traffic. For unicast traffic, the AP is supposed to receive an egg to ensure that the packet was received by the endpoint. Let's say if the AP never received an egg, it will try, in this case, 3 times before it gives up and move on. Okay, and then there's this mass payload byte for AP and endpoint. What it says is that for a radio friend, the friend in this case will allow transmitting 256 bytes from the AP to endpoint, and this friend also allow transmitting 256 bytes from the endpoint to the AP. You can set a bigger number. The thing is that with the bigger payload byte, it will be more efficient because then the overhead will be less. But then the problem is that it may have higher round trip delay. So you have to just the trade-off, do some trade-off analysis. For license configuration, I think 256 is a good number. If you are running with ISM band, where you can have a much higher capacity, you can go with a bigger payload byte. So typically leave the 256 alone. Okay, and that's it. And then hit save. So so this is the AP side. And then we go to the endpoint. You can configure multiple endpoints. So let's go to the endpoint. So I'm going to go to the endpoint. I already have it set up with an IP address of 192.168.0.10. Go to the endpoint. Username is a MIG, password is a MIG. So same thing, you go to the radio, choose the RF mode, save. And then you go to the RF setting. So, okay, actually, I have it turned on as auto config. Let's don't do that. So, okay, so you go to the RF setting, and then you're going to set the same. Obviously, you have to set the transmit power, the transmit frequency, the EP transmit frequency. Just set the channel size and set the modulation mode. And then you go to the network setting. So this radio, you're going to choose it as an endpoint. Okay. And so the network address, what do we set here? Oh, we set it to 111. So this guy has to be 111. And we set this device ID. Okay, I forgot to explain the device ID. Device ID is the unique identity of the radio port of a radio. So each radio in the network, each radio port in the network has to have a unique device ID. For this one, it's 11, I mean the AP, and we set 10 for the EP. You can choose any number. Make sure that you connect you link with the device ID of the AP. So the AP is 11. So you make sure that you link with 11. Okay. So we already explained the other thing, and then so what we're going to do is we're going to commit, and also I'm going to commit the AP. So we should have a link up and running. So let's wait for the link to come up. How do you know that the link is up? So you will be looking at the radio. So on the radio, there's a LED. It's called a link LED. So you want to look at the radio link LED, and on the AP, the link LED is always green. But on the endpoint, if the link is up, the link LED will be green. Otherwise, it will be red. So there, I mean, once this configuration is up and running, you would have the link.